The hot air comes in. It's not. Yeah, we tried it earlier. It wasn't. Nothing was coming in. Okay, we're live. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good evening, everyone. Declare this meeting of the Horsham Town Council open. Thank you all for attending. The housekeeping announcements before we begin. Please note the location of the fire exits, which are over there and here. And in case of fire, please leave by the nearest exit and assemble in the car park. Please make sure you switch off your mobile phone and other devices to silent, as I'm about to do now, as I've just reminded myself. Please be aware that this meeting is being live streamed and recorded. And if you wish to participate in the public speaking item on the agenda, please state your name clearly when invited. Thank you very much. Do we have any apologies for absence?
We do. Councillor Skip has a travel commitment. Councillor Taylor has a family commitment. Councillor Macon has a personal commitment. Councillor Olsen has a family commitment. Councillor Raby has a personal commitment. Councillor Mercer has a family commitment. And Councillor Sweeney also shares her apologies as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that.
We can just check everybody's happy to accept those. Thank
Is everyone happy to accept those?
Yeah. Thank you.
Correct.
Thank you.
The next item is also declarations of pecuniary and non-pecuniary interests and dispensation requests. Do members have any interest to declare regarding these, with regard to the items on the agenda today?
And sorry, just to be clear, Chair, so the dispensations that you have in place is for the councillor allowances. So if there's anybody here this evening that doesn't have a dispensation in place, you will need to leave the room at that point because you don't have a dispensation. But I think from memory, I think all those present here do have those. So thank you very much.
The next item is to approve the full council minutes for our previous meeting, which was the 16th of June. Does anybody have any comments or queries regarding those minutes that were sent out for that meeting? None received. Anything else, Jill?
No, that's fine.
That's fine.
Thank you,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. So are we happy as a town council to accept the minutes from the last meeting? Okay, that's
Thank you. If you wouldn't mind signing them while we're here.
I'd
Thank
like to sign
you.
those now.
Thank you.
Talk among yourselves, please.
Yes,
On each,
thank you. Initial, please.
yeah.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, that's each side.
Thank you very much. Wonderful.
Okay. We now move into a session which can last up to 20 minutes, which is set aside for members of the public to make representations at this meeting in respect to any business on the agenda or other matters if time commits. And members of the public have about 5 minutes each if they wish to contribute to this. Is there anybody from the public who would like to speak on any matters? It appears not.
No.
So thank you all for coming anyway. That's fantastic.
Okay.
Super. Okay. Okay, great. On to item 5. We're fortunate this evening to have speakers from some outside authorities and organisations. I'd like to invite George Ford to come forward and speak to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Do you want me to?
It's wherever you feel most comfortable, George.
I was going to say, yeah, if you wanted to sit there, but if you wouldn't mind speaking clearly, because obviously the speakers at this end.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm from Yorkshire, so you might not understand. So I'm George Ford. I'm the Assistant Area Highway Manager. My specific area that I look after is Horsham District. So I basically look after all the parishes within Horsham District. I've been doing the job for 2 years now. Prior to that, I was in the army for 16 years as a frontline soldier. So with me, I'm a northerner and I've been in the army for 16 years. Everything's black and white. I'm a yes or no man. There's no middle ground. So I don't say no. You will find I say no quite a lot. But that's just because I don't want to, my job is to manage your expectations. Like I said, I've been doing the job for 2 years now. I know most of the policies and legislation around highways. So, I'm not saying no because I don't want to do something for you. It's just that we can't do it, and that's as simple as it is. Whether it be policy, legislation, budget, resources, there will be a reason behind it. And I will explain that whenever you ask me for something. I don't just say no and then leave it there. That it'll all be explained. Things I do, so for example, my job, Louise and Nigel know me. My job is to be the liaison between yourselves and the highways. It's much easier for me to find the people you need than it is for you to search around the highways, because there's a lot of teams, there's a lot of schemes, there's a lot of people that you might need to find. So that's my main job. Other than that, I do things like community highway schemes. So my job, I have a £200,000 per scheme for community highway schemes. At the minute, I have 8 of them, so I'm over £1 million worth of budget at the minute going to schemes. That's the whole of Horsham district, not just the Horsham itself. I do other minor improvements, but my job is basically to make sure that you're getting the best out of the highways and you get the right people that you need, whether it be crowd or is there anything else that you'd like to know? Because I'm guessing there's questions going to be asked, because there usually is at this point.
Well, firstly, I have just a question and response, and particularly because as someone who lives in Horsham, but also as a district councillor and a town councillor, I must say I've always found that when I report something like a pothole, I've always had a really swift response from you guys, and I think it's from my perspective, I sort of feel it's I think when you are communicated with, your response is really swift and in my experience effective. I think it's really important that the public and councillors such as us are aware of how to contact you and then leave it in your hands, because then it's your business. I know we're updating our website at the moment. Would it be, councillor, I think it might be good for, to have a link to your website as well?
So specifically, I'm happy for town councils and councillors to have my specific email, which on the bottom of my signature has my mobile number plus my personal number. I don't want the public to have that.
No, understood.
I was thinking more of the fact that just a highways link on our website might be something which would help.
That's good for us, because we would rather customers come to us. For example, when we talk about inspections on roads, we inspect every road across West Sussex. There's 4,000 kilometres of roads, by the way, once a year. We need the public to come to us. It's not like we don't see it as a complaint or someone moaning. We need to know where these potholes are, because we have a statutory duty to keep the highway safe. And without the public, we don't do our job properly. So yes, please do put it on the website, and I'll send you links to all sorts that the public might want to know, and yourselves.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that'd be really helpful, and because it's all about teamwork and partnerships, I think that'd be great. Thank you so much. Any other questions for George?
Yeah, thanks for coming. It's nice to meet you. And it's probably a really big subject for our residents, but if this might be a question for Nigel, I don't know, but if you were to be asked, what's the current sort of situation regarding highways in West Sussex, where are we in terms of where we want to be, but sitting there, if I could put it in those terms, how would you kind of summarise where we're at? That's the question.
Well, we've just had to do local elections, which we've now got different councillors in place. We've got a new cabinet member, and they're really for making a difference. I think previously, a year or two ago, we had different contractors. So we had Balfour Beatty and Drainline. We've now got Volker Highways and Conway. There are much better contracts in place. So, for example, when Balfour Beatty was in place, a pothole could be fixed. 2 days later breaks. We have to pay them again to refix it. Well, we now have a guarantee period in the contract. So once it's fixed, if it breaks within 3 months, for example, depending on the weather and depending on where it is, etc., we can then recharge them. They have to do the work without us. So we are in a much better place as far as contracts are concerned. I'm not going to sit here and say we've got a great budget, because we haven't. I always tell the analogy, so last year, 2025, we got £27 million for road maintenance. Road maintenance doesn't include, well, it does include potholes, but also includes overgrown vegetation, lining works, gully works. There's a huge array. We've got 700,000 registered cars. It works out about £38 per car that you pay for road maintenance. And just one pothole alone, on average last year, cost £81. So, you know, we're stretched as it is. So resources and budget are a big thing for us. And you know, we try and put that across to the public. And
Thanks, George. That's really useful. I'm just conscious of our time. We've only got 5 minutes for your slot. So I'll get Councillor Grant first and then Councillor Fletcher.
Yeah, hi, and again, thanks for the echo from my colleagues. I've got a quick question. How does West Sussex County Council, your team, prioritise which gets fixed in which order? What's the rules of the road, as it were?
So we have a thing called Highway Inspection Manual. It's written by the Department of Transport. They set a criteria for a pothole, for example. We cannot go above that, but we can go below. So we can change the HIN, but it can only go below. So for example, if a 50mm pothole is a 28-day call out, we can make it a 5-day call out, but we can't make it a 30 days. If that makes sense. So the DFT wrote it, and it sets out every criteria you can imagine. I can send you the link to it. It's a good bedtime read. It's generally, if you want to understand how we work and the criteria and the intervention level we put against all types of defects on the highway, definitely read it, because it will make you understand how we work better.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Fletcher.
Thank you. Nice to see you again, and say thank you, because you're doing some good work. What I wanted to ask is perhaps a slightly difficult question, which is, how do we decide when we should go with something via the town council to contact you, when we should go direct to you, when we should be talking to Louise and Nigel, and when we should be reporting on the website and just leaving it for that? Because there are lots of different ways in, and any particular pointers you want to give us.
So if it's any inquiry, so for example, we would say pothole, overgrown vegetation, those type of things, go to the website, because it's no point coming to me. The website sets up so everything's reported and dealt with in the right way. So, like I said, so it goes to the website, it then gets allocated to the steward. The steward then has 10 days to basically 10-day SLA. We're actually at about 4 days by the time the inquiry's been assessed. If it's anything like community highway schemes or any sort of improvements, do go to your town council to speak to your councillors, because we've always got to have town council backing and councillor backing for most of our improvements, so it's best off speaking to them. And it's all about escalation. If something has happened and I can't help you, I am only an assistant, there's 10 people above me, escalation is something that we should be doing. I have a new cabinet member with them, she's really good. And I've been working with her recently, and she's got some stuff done that I couldn't get done. She's now had done just in a small tenure. So yeah, I mean that's the basics of it. If it's anything minor, go through the website. Anything further, go through the town council or myself, and through the councillors.
Okay, George. Thank you very much. That's really interesting and really helpful. Thank you for coming. I'd just like to invite Peter Beckley, who's the director of the North Horsham Community Land Trust, to speak to us.
I'll jump up here and speak to you Come over here. Evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to speak this evening. As you say, I'm Peter Beckley. I'm the director of North Horsham Community Land Trust, and my colleague here is Graham Firebash, is our treasurer. The CLT movement in general is actually quite a well-kept secret, unfortunately, so hopefully you'll learn a little bit more about it this evening. I'm aware that quite a few of you will already be aware of us, so please forgive me if some of what I'm going to say you know already. Some will be new to some of you, and some of what I'm going to say will be new to all of you. A bit about North Horsham Community Land Trust, first of all. The technical bit, we're a community-led, not-for-profit organisation run by volunteers for local people. We were formed in January 2020, following an initiative by North Horsham Parish Council, with the aim of providing truly affordable social rent homes for people who live and or work in North Horsham Parish. We are a cooperative and community benefit society. That's the difficult bit. We're registered with the Financial Conduct Authority and operate under the guidance of the Sussex Community Housing Hub. And we're also members of the National Community Land Trust Network. If you've got any questions about the legal side of it, Graham can take those a bit later because he understands it much better than me. But basically, we're not a charity, but we're a not-for-profit organisation. So there's a distinction. We have a board of directors which comprises 5 people. We currently have 52 members in all, who are all shareholders, and between them have purchased 1,100 shares. We're fortunate to have received several grants from North Horsham Parish Council, and to date, these have covered our start-up costs and our annual running costs. One thing that we very quickly realised when we were formed was that confining our activities to North Horsham was limiting our ability to find property opportunities and also to expand our membership. We wanted to cover all of the urban Horsham area, so we very quickly added North Horsham and its environs to our documentation. And over time, we've attempted to maintain contact with the neighbourhood councils, and particularly Horsham Blueprint, who have all been supportive of what we've been trying to do. One of the main drivers for forming a CLT was the realisation that with the ever-increasing property prices in our area, both for purchase and for rent, families and young people locally were finding it impossible to afford a home of their own in Horsham. As an example, and I'm sure you'll all recognise this scenario, a young person can have been raised and lived in Horsham all their life, and after school and college they get their first job in the town. They live at home with their parents, but come to realise that they can't afford a home of their own in the locality. Because of this, they move away from the area to where property is more affordable. The result, you lose family cohesion, local businesses lose young promising staff, and Horsham loses out on the next generation of local families that all goes to create a vibrant town that you'll appreciate. Additionally, of course, Horsham has a substantial number of people on the housing waiting list, and we believe that we can help in this regard as well by not only providing some truly affordable homes, but also by actually preventing people ever actually having to get on that list in the first place. So what have we been doing to tackle this? Well, over the years, we've been investigating in detail what we need to do to obtain land or property to achieve our vision of these affordable homes for rent for local people that the Community Land Trust would then own in perpetuity. There's been several possibilities identified over the years, but for various reasons, we haven't as yet been in a position to actually pursue any, until now, that is. During this period, however, we have gained a good understanding of the housing market, the challenges we face and the opportunities that are open to us. We've also been busy making contact with Horsham District Council, land agents, estate agents, local business groups, because they have a vested interest in this, and both the large local developments at Mowbray and the Novartis site. In this regard, obviously the water neutrality issues impacted the build out of both those developments, but we are still talking with them, And as the housing market is changing now, we seem to be getting listened to more, particularly with regard to Mowbray, I'm pleased to say. We also track all the local development applications and feel that with help, these smaller developments that come through may provide future opportunities, as the large affordable homes providers are less interested in small developments, and therefore the developer will struggle to provide the affordable homes that is required by the planning consent. So
Peter, can I just say, if you want some questions, we can bring it to a close in a couple of minutes. Is that all right?
Right, okay, yeah. I should skip ahead a little bit then, because I tantalisingly told you at the beginning, but there was the words until now. We may have found a possible site. We were initially made aware in January that Horsham Parochial Church Council were interested in finding a possible future use for a church in Horsham. Don't look alarmed, it isn't St Mary's, don't worry. I visited the church in question and we saw opportunities there. We've met with an architect and he has also confirmed that what we were thinking is possible. I would add that it's an existing building, it's got an interesting history, it's got links with the community, and we are absolutely not talking about demolishing it, which of course is what a commercial developer would immediately do. To move this forward, the next step is to commission a viability report, which our architect has proposed, which the clues in the title will tell us if it's viable and also give us an indication of likely costs. So this is the first step on the journey. That's going to cost us £2,700, and we are at the moment looking for funding to carry that out. The reason I'm telling you all this is because I mentioned that we wanted to represent and cover all of Horsham. And with the creation of this town council, the time seemed to be right for us to expand in a more official way and potentially rebrand ourselves as Horsham Community Land Trust. If we do this, it needs to be done in a sensitive way, because obviously we owe a large debt of gratitude to North Horsham Parish Council for both providing initiative for starters and funding us. So we need to make sure they understand that this is adding to the opportunities available by an expanded community land trust, and that we're not abandoning North Horsham in favour of a shiny new town council. We also need to understand that if we do go ahead with this, we will require your backing in both a practical way and publicly, and no doubt at some stage monetarily as well, in the same way that we have been supported by the Horsham Parish Council in the past. It's also worth noting that the church I mentioned actually sits in your area, so it'd be rather nice to have the town council behind us when we move forward. Thank you. Sorry if I've gone on a bit too long, but questions, please.
Yeah, we're within the time frame. That's very interesting, and thank you for your work in North Horsham and for your considerations of the rest of the town. Do we have any questions for Peter regarding this? Yes, Councillor Albro.
Yeah, I'm going to be cheeky and ask two, actually, if that's all right. So I suppose preempting the ask for financial help, would a potential financial partner then become a shareholder, investor in it, or is it a case of a grant?
In the case of North Horsham Parish Council, we have always applied and received grants from them. They have a representative that can sit on our board if they want to. and that would obviously apply exactly the same. Anyone can become a member of the Community Land Trust by purchasing a share or shares. The shares are £1 each. And people have bought one. We'd obviously much rather have bought a lot more.
Could I just explain something here? These aren't conventional shares, dividend shares, they're not
No.
dividend
No,
shares. They're member shares.
Yeah.
Because we are a company limited by guarantee, not limited by.
And so the second question, in 10 years' time, what would you hope to achieve?
10 years' time, I would hope we would have a number of properties. How many, if I'm being very optimistic, I'd say 10, but to be honest, we'd settle for however many we can get. I mean, doing this is like pushing snowballs up here in the heat wave. You know.
Do you envisage them being HMO type properties, so starter homes?
Yeah, that's what we're envisaging. And most community land trusts throughout the UK, and there's over 315 of them registered at the moment, they've between them done about 1,100 homes already, with another, 2,000 homes already, with another 7,000 in the pipeline.
So
we're not doing
2,000 properties or 2,000 bed units?
2,000 individual properties, right? Called be they
And
houses or flats. So we're not doing this on our own, and we're not inventing the wheel here. So yeah, that's what we would like to achieve. The opportunity I mentioned may achieve for properties.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further questions for Peter this time? Thank you very much. Councillor Goffey.
I was just really in terms of what you see the next step being in terms of the relationship between yourself and your town council, as in what do you need first, I suppose?
Well, if the town council were of a mind that a Horsham Community Land Trust would be a good thing, first of all, we would need to understand that that was your wish. We would then need to have a confidential discussion with North Horsham Parish Council to make sure we manage the message. So for that reason, I would ask that this particular proposal stay within these walls for now, please. Because we don't want to.
What I can, I'm sorry, Peter, as I said at the beginning, this is being streamed live out to the world.
So I'm banking on no one from North Horsham Parish.
We'll see. And the thing is, I certainly think what you have brought to us is a really exciting and really decent opportunity for the people of Horsham as a town, be that North Horsham or everyone else. So I think it's entirely appropriate for us to think about what you propose, and I think it's important for the councillors and people of North Horsham to think about what happens next as well. So to that end, I think it's a very interesting and decent proposal. Councillor Fletcher is popping a hand there.
Just a quick one, which is I think the nomination rights will be important going forward. Who will be able to be nominated from which areas and what criteria they're going to be nominated according to, and who will decide that. I don't necessarily need an answer at the moment, but just commenting that I think for our support, that will be something we'll need to understand.
What we're basically saying is you'd like to have a bit of a say in what we're doing.
Well, I think we'd like to support the people of Horsham getting access to housing, which is what you're all about as well. That's it.
It needs to be transparent.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely fine.
Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. We now move on to item 7, which is the councillors' update. Do we have any?
Yes,
We do.
we have
Reports
Councillor.
from
Yeah, Councillor Dennis is here.
Yes.
Councillor Potter, yeah.
Councillor Dennis.
A few local updates, mostly highways related. So the controlled parking zone. There's been some concern from residents in zone D, which are the ones with the 8 AM to 10 AM restriction behind the station, around Station Road and Burford Road. that the restrictions are insufficient because after 10 it gets filled up with parking for the rest of the day. And I'm supporting them in undertaking a survey to try and gauge public interest in greater restrictions there. And it's not going to be an easy one to solve because somewhere has to have the first slot in terms of the 2-hour restrictions. And the reason for making it 8 till 10 there was that it would stop rail commuters from being much use. But the parking attendants have to work their way around the town, and so they can't be everywhere between 12 and 2, for example. So we'll have to see how that develops, but at least there is a process ongoing to seek out the residents' views. A similar exercise in Zone A regarding Sunday restrictions has concluded. There was an official consultation done at the end of last year, and the results will be available imminently. I'm not at liberty to say what they are at the moment, but that date will be coming out in the next week or two. The Horsham Sustainable Transport Plan and the corridors, the priority there is going to be the A281 Guildford Road, because that was both less expensive and had more support from residents than the Kings Road, Rusper Road corridor, which is going to have further work done on it. Some of the enhancements include shared use footway cycling, part of Farthings Hill junction modifications with some segregation of cycle facilities and crossing improvements. The North Parade, West Parade signal and cycle upgrade, or re-installation of new traffic signals, is going to be taking place on the 21st of July to the 11th of September. In other words, over the school holiday period as far as possible when traffic volumes are lower. It's likely to be quite disruptive, so you might wish to avoid the area if you can. But hopefully once it's finished, we will have a more efficient modern traffic signal system there, and there will be better facilities for both pedestrians as well as cyclists. And I've got some site meetings booked in the next few weeks with highway engineers, including George here, to look at New Street traffic issues and also Brighton Road, where there's been a request for pedestrian crossing facility near the Kennedy Road junction.
Thank you very much, Councillor Nelson. Thank you for all the work that you do. Thank you very much indeed. Are there any other reports from councillors? Fantastic.
I like when Nigel goes first if he does it. I'm very grateful. I'll piggyback on actually the first one that Nigel mentioned about the controlled parking zone, because I had a similar thing going on in Rivermead, which is just next to Riverside Doctor's Surgery. They're currently in Zone F, but obviously in recent years they have become much closer to town with the building of Waitrose and Aldi and so forth. And residents contacted me, said they're just not coping with how many cars are parking there throughout the day. So they are currently undergoing a consultation to be moved into Zone A potentially. So that's kind of ongoing at the moment. I've attended 3 presentations on various road improvement schemes. The first one Nigel's spoken about on the sustainable corridors, so I won't talk about that one again. The other 2 are both active travel schemes that you may well already be aware of, so I'll be brief. The first one is on Compton's Lane, the walking, wheeling and cycling improvement scheme. Current design that they have is based on previous engagement that took place in 2022, so they've modified it since then, and includes crossings for pedestrians and cyclists, segregated cycle lanes and some shared use paths, improvements to the junction of Compton's Lane and Bennett's Road, which I've had a couple of residents contact me on actually, because at the moment as you come out of Bennett's onto Compton's, there's a service road that people are sort of accidentally turning into, so they're going, the proposal is to move the entrance to that to avoid that happening. That's current, there's a survey currently open on that, which is open till the 4th of August if anyone wants to have their say on it. And then the other one is the Backbridge Lane scheme, the aim to improve safety and accessibility for pupils and residents, reduce congestion and help tackle barriers to active travel on the school run. includes things like footway widening, new tactile crossing points, traffic calming, through build-outs and narrowing, and raised tables and junction tightening. The public engagement on that ended at the start of June. There were 43 responses, 84% of those were in support. The objections came from a small area who are going to be impacted by the removal of the lay-bys or lose a few parking spaces. But otherwise, it's generally well supported. So they're now refining the design in preparation for internal moderation. What was I going to say about? Oh, and on Thursday, George might not know, but I'm meeting to talk primarily about Granary Way. I've had a couple of residents contact me about speeding on Granary Way, people kind of looping round, and also hopefully Curves Lane, where we were previously looking to get a SIDS device. That's not possible, so to look at other options for reducing speed. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed for what you do as well. And I've had a conversation about that, or a SID about the Curves Lane, so that's an ongoing discussion. Do you have anything from any town councillors?
So I'm just going to say, I'm actually I'm the landlord of the Bedford Pub, so obviously see on a daily basis the chaos around there with parking and driving, things that go on. But you mentioned obviously the 8 to 10 restriction being to do with enforcement. Is there any reason why that can't be made a longer period and the enforcement randomised a little bit?
Well, I mean, that is a possibility. It is the trouble is likely to mean less enforcement in other places. So
Sure.
it's all a question of you're going to pay for all of it on this, unfortunately. So I mean, I think they are a bit short-changed, those ones where it cuts out at 10 o'clock, because you do get quite a lot of shoppers and people are going up to London for the theatre and things, using the space after that. So it is a question of trying to see if there's a way forward you can include things there while not affecting the other areas. Yeah,
I will inform, I do get people moan quite regularly at the bar and I speak to them. So I'll follow the consultation with interest.
Yeah.
So thank you for bringing
yeah,
that
I mean, it's a sort of multi-stage process. So the first stage, the residents have to show that there's a problem that and it's supported by residents to do something about it. Then the council will have to draw up plans and have an official consultation on those. And then, if that was successful, it would then be implemented. So, there's some way away from a change. Right? Yeah.
I have noticed some safety concerns also been raised around those roads as well. Is that something that would be addressed by this, or is that out of scope?
Well, it could be certainly speeding of vehicles and such like, and use of the rat run in New Street. Again, there are more problems. It's easy to identify the problems than it is to find solutions in many cases. And one person's solution creates a problem for someone else. If the best way of solving this would actually be to put a block in the middle of New Street so that it became two conflicting one way, so you couldn't use it as a road. But this would then force more traffic down the roads like Cambridge and Devonshire, and lead to some people having to take longer routes to get home. And so, it solves one problem, the creation of different ones.
Yeah, you'll never please everyone on those roads. I don't think the Victorians imagine quite how many cars there would be.
That's the problem, that no off-street parking in that area.
No. Okay, thank you. I would like to say, as an update, that we had a very successful Horsham Town Council what did we have? We had a tent, we had a gazebo at the Sunday fun day, at the Rotarian, a stall at the park last Sunday, which overall was a fantastic day, organised by the Rotarians. And we had a lot of, Councillor Ziv had a lot of interaction with the public, and I want to thank you personally, Jill, for all the help you did for putting all the banners together, and other councillors for supplying stalls and tents and so on. So thank you very much indeed. I thought it was a great bit of community engagement there. If we're Councillor Duffy.
I don't know whether you wanted any district council items in the.
I am so sorry, I've forgotten the district. How can I forget the district council?
Yeah, I mean, I won't dwell on that too much, but The main one obviously is that Cabinet last week, was it only last week?
Lovely.
Yeah, voted to consult on modifications to the local plan. That consultation opened today for 6 weeks. And there's a number of modifications proposed to policy and everything, which essentially the council says how it thinks it should change the plan. Those proposals go to the examiner along with all the comments on it, for him to decide whether those changes are appropriate. A number of them relate to policies, but the headline item, as ever with these things, is to do with site allocations. So the proposal is to allocate an additional strategic site land around Adversane for circa a new settlement for circa 3,200 homes, I believe, on there. And then there's around 10, I think, other smaller sites contributing.
17 or 18.
17 or 18, is it? Okay. Other sites throughout the district, all of which are to help hit the increased target that we know we need to meet as a result of the water neutrality restrictions falling away. So that consultation is open on the District Council website for the next 6 weeks. I think we've got something on the consultations later on the agenda for this council responding to it. The other issue at the moment, or matter, I guess, is the consultation on the community governance review of the district. Closed a couple of weeks ago, something like that. And that is now coming to the governance committee a week tomorrow, 22nd of July. I haven't seen the papers for it yet, but I understand that they will have been published by now today for that meeting, for the governance committee to then consider what proposals or questions it thinks it should put forward in the second round of consultation, which I imagine starts in a week or so after the meeting. So that consultation will be happening over the summer as well.
Thank you, Councillor Buffy. Any questions regarding that from other councillors? No, thank you. Councillor Fletcher.
So thank you, Martin, for talking about the main modifications consultation. So I don't need to mention that one. Just to say that although it's mentioned later in the agenda, we've also got another planning consultation out in the district, which is we've been asked to start work on the next local plan after that, taking us up to 2045. So there is a sort of open format consultation on that as well, where people can give their general views on how they see the future of Horsham District from a planning perspective there. So if you go to the wrong consultation, the website should direct you back to which one you were trying to get to. All the development and planning means that we do bring in money that can be spent on infrastructure for the district, and some of this money has been accumulating over a number of years, and we've, as a new administration, have put in the processes to be able to actually spend that on the purposes for which it was intended, and we've now made a real start in doing that. So community infrastructure levy, we've had a round of bids for across the district for new infrastructure that people wanted to do, and a governance process cross-party to decide where that should go. So we've now been able to allocate £7.2 million worth of infrastructure funding by the Horsham District from these developer contributions. So there are 11 projects, 10 projects there. There's a new pavilion at Pulborough. There's pitch drainage going on for people who are playing football and so on. Relevant to our area here, the courtyard surgery is very short of space, so they've been limited in who they can treat because they didn't have enough consulting rooms. We're providing £1.6 million to enable them to expand out to have an additional site in Mowbray as well, which means that people in the new North Horsham will have a surgery and better service for the town customers as well. We've got 500,000 towards improving the entrance to Horsham Park along Fire Station Passage, which is going to be widened and be available for people to walk and cycle along there. There is a contribution towards the West Parade improvements that have been mentioned by Louise, so that's 620,000 gone to that. There's 2 million going to Chanctonbury Leisure Hub for their redevelopment there. There's a feasibility study that Network Rail are going to carry out for improving the station entrance at Horsham, and we're contributing 50,000 to that. Storrington Cricket Club have got improvements. Jubilee Fields in Billingshurst, improvements. Cricket nets and pitches. So really good news story there. There's a new significant planning application coming in the town area, which is just about making its way through validation, which is the land south of Athelstan Way. So that's on the bridle way from between Arran Way and Athelstan Way, going off towards Chesworth Farm for housing. There are lots of things happening, but very immediately, some of you will be aware that Swan Walk has been shut at the moment because in the heat there's been one of the roofing glass panes has broken. So everybody's on top of that. They've got getting specialists coming in. They obviously need to make sure it's not going to happen to any other glass panes, and in the interim period there is access to the pharmacy at Boots through the Carfax entrance. So people who need drugs or whatever will still be able to get them. But just for now, unfortunately, they've had to shut the centre, and they will be highly motivated to get that open as soon as they possibly can.
Thank you very much, Councillor Fletcher. Thank you.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
That application at Athelstan Way, is that for the whole? Is that the county side?
No,
or is it the triangle
it's
that
the
belongs
triangle.
to?
It's the triangle, the smaller bit.
Councillor Alborough.
Just the numbers you mentioned, obviously on those infrastructure grants, obviously quite big projects there. Is there any support for smaller grassroots organisations, charities,
Yes.
to apply for smaller grants?
Yes, well, I mean, there are lots of sources of funding. So Horsham does have community grant funding, which is on the webpage, and that's an ongoing process. When there's a new development, this SIL money comes in two flavours. So 3/4 of it is the strategic SIL, which is intended for major project and district-wide stuff, and that's what I've just spoken about. There's also neighbourhood SIL, which is at 25% because of the blueprint neighbourhood plan that we've got. And Tony has chaired the group that has assessed the applications for that, and there's been an earlier funding round for that, and that was announced a while ago. The residue of those neighbourhood funds will be down to the town council to manage for the community in the future. So we're in a little sort of hiatus period at the moment.
Okay, thank you. So I know you had your hand up. Unless you have an answer to that question, that will be a yes/no answer. If I can ask, unless it's that, you can say it to the end.
I feel it's going to be no answer. I'd like to ask the Member of the Public a question. Ruth refers to improvements at the railway station. Is there any news with any improvements to the railway bridge so I can actually get across it without bumping into people's buggies and things.
If you could give a
I'm
short
sorry,
answer, then
the
a follow-up
answer
at the
is
end,
the
yes.
one you expect. It's about access to the station itself, not the surrounding area.
Okay,
Thank you.
sorry. So our next item, item 8, is payment schedules regarding data schedules, additional payments. Jill, would you like to update us about this?
Thank you, yes. So hopefully you've had an opportunity to look at the payment schedules. So you've got the one that lists the July payments. So that's a total of, including VAT, £13,482.32. And then there were 3 payments that missed the last schedule, but they were paid because if we defaulted on paying late, there would have been consequences. For instance, the Hive platform that had to be paid before this meeting. But I do have delegated authority as per the financial regulations. So those were communicated to the 2 councillors that authorised those payments for me, Councillor Frank and Councillor Olsen, and they authorised those payments. But you've got them on the schedule here, so they're for noting this evening. And also I've included on here, we had bank charges of £1.13 that was taken from the account the 30th of June. So those are those 2 payment schedules. So the one for this evening to be approved is the July schedule. Thank you. But any questions of any of those items, I'm happy to take
Any
queries.
questions regarding that? Okay, so you've had a chance to look at them prior to that already. So at this point, we need a decision. Is somebody that's going to propose that we accept this? Okay, thank you, Councillor.
3. Oh, Councillor
Morton Cook.
Thank you.
And seconded by Councillor Franklin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who wishes to?
No, it's a vote now.
It's a vote. Yeah, I'm saying yes. Sorry, who wants to agree with this motion?
Unanimous.
Okay, I
Thank
think
you.
we're unanimous, right.
Thank you.
Okay. So on to item 9, which is representation on outside.
Sorry,
bodies.
Councillor. We've got the nominations of the signatories.
Oh, there's
for-
different parts. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
thank you. That's right.
On to 6B. Please carry on, Jill. Do you want to? Are we just accepting this as well?
So I think members were happy to accept both of those schedules together, was my understanding. And then, but we just need to confirm the nomination for the 2 signatories for August and September, which is C and D.
Which is C and D.
Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you.
And are they the 2 names that you raised earlier, myself and Councillor
It can be, if there are any other, because obviously it has to be members that are already online and know they have access to the bank. And
I'm
are,
available to do that.
thank you. So, okay. Is that for August? Sorry, Councillor.
It is, yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So if I, yeah, so that's Councillor Frank, Councillor Thompson. And September, is anyone
September.
available?
I will be around again.
Okay,
I'm happy to.
thank you.
That. Yeah. Same again?
Any-
Fantastic. Yes,
Councillor
same
Thompson,
too.
thank you. So if, yeah, if you're happy to ask. if
Are we
everyone's-
all? Are we happy to agree with those nominations?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Super. So we're now going on to item 9.
Thank you, yes.
Which is representation on outside bodies. We have been sent and are now to consider a report from the interim clerk on the potential appointment of HGC representation to external body meetings. I think we already have some people who put themselves forward for these.
There were. I've just got a quick addition as well. I did email out, but it was only this morning, so you might not have had a chance to look at those emails. But we've had 2 further organisations contact us since the list was published. The Twinning Association, Horsham Twinning Association, they would like very much to have a representative, and they've mentioned that Councillor Emily Roland-Gosselin would be their preferred choice, purely because obviously your connections. I think they're quite excited about that. But if we could have somebody that was sort of backup deputy role as well, that would be very helpful if we can get that one this evening. Also, the cycling forum, I've had contact from them as well, and they're very keen if there could be at least one town council representative. Their meetings are normally online and they're the second Monday of the month. But they said sometimes that does schedule changes a little bit. And they just wanted to make sure as well, you all know that they were very happy to see the Town Council had the stand at the Sunday Fun Day event in the park. So those are the two additions since that agenda's been published. And as you say, Councillor Frank, there was a list that was shared with me. Obviously, if others want to put themselves forward, please do. Let's find the list. Apologies, I should have printed it before I came. Okay, so the HTCP, I have on this list Councillor Boffey and Councillor Olsen. For HALC, Councillor Frank and Councillor Olsen. And for the Police Forum, Councillor Skip. So there is availability, there isn't a backup slot there. Councillor Albro for the Community Wardens. And again, there is another space if we've got anyone that's prepared to do the deputy role. Horsham Matters, we don't have any nominations at the moment. Your Horsham, Councillor Albro, but there is another slot available if somebody wants to join there. Then scrolling down, Horsham Park, Councillor Robbins and Councillor Fletcher. Green Spaces Forum, Councillor Makin and Councillor Albro. And the Older People's Forum, we haven't got anyone appointed at the moment there or nominated. Rotary, Councillor Mortimer Cook, and again there's one space available. And the Twinning Association, Councillor Rowan Gosselin, and again there's one space available. If we can have a deputy, that would be helpful. If not, obviously we can carry that forward to another meeting. The Cycling Forum, I didn't know if Councillor Fletcher would be prepared to be the representative, because I know you.
I'm a member on it, so I often attend.
Okay.
You might want to have somebody else.
Yes.
To get a different view.
Okay. Thank you.
Up to you how you'd like to play that.
That's right. So we've got 2 slots potentially available on the Cycling Forum as well. So I hope that's helpful.
It is helpful. I mean, I would like to offer myself as a deputy to the Twinning Committee, if that's acceptable. Also, I think it's a potentially good idea that I also deputise at the Rotary with Councillor Mortimer Cook, if that's I'm happy to have others on there as well. Any other people putting themselves forward?
Yeah. I'll deputise for David on the police.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Okay, so
marriage.
Councillor Fletcher.
Let you go.
Well,
I was going to say I'd be quite interested in doing the warden one.
The warden, thank you.
Can I put myself forward for Horsham Matters?
You can.
Thank you.
Did you want to be included on the Cycling Forum?
They can give it a go.
Yeah. Thank you. So that's Horsham Matters and the Cycling Forum.
And I think probably, I don't know what I'm doing here, I think possibly if I could deputise to Horsham Matters as well.
Okay.
Having already visited there myself.
Yes.
Excuse me, Chair.
Yeah.
On the communication I received earlier, I understood Councillor Makin was volunteering for the Horsham Matters one.
Okay.
I received from Councillor Olsen.
Oh, thank you. So it might be in my inbox that I haven't had a chance to look at that. So, sorry, which one was that one?
So Horsham Matters, Councillor Steve Makin.
Who have we got at the moment? Thank you, Councillor Makin.
Am I able to bump myself down as deputy?
For Horsham Matters?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got Councillor Makin for Horsham Matters. Are you okay with
if you deputise, I'm sure I'll be visiting through the year as chair.
Exactly.
So that's fine. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, that's great.
Okay, thank you.
And Green Spaces, Councillor Steve Makin.
Oh, thank you.
Green Spaces.
Oh yes, I've got Councillor Makin and Councillor Albro for Green Spaces, so that one's filled.
I'm happy to be deputy on that. I think there's some gaps, and I suggested I might. I don't need to.
Okay.
We've had a chat about it.
Okay.
I'm down for Green Spaces. I think Sam, I don't know what John did or said to you.
I think there was a gap at the time, we had to deputise, but if you want to, please do take me off.
Yeah. So I'd like to
So-
say green spaces.
Your green spaces, are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think Sam's going, I was going to come off green spaces.
Yes,
So
if there's
green
enough
spaces-
people.
Okay,
so green
okay.
spaces, it's Steve Making and Nick Grant, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, so I think we're nearly there. The one, oh, Councillor Thompson, did you want to be on anything? Yeah. Okay. That's fine, that's fine. Didn't want you to feel left out. So we've got the wardens. Have we got a backup for the wardens, did we say? Yes, Councillor Fletcher, thank you. Older People's Forum, that's the one, I think. Thank you.
I'd be happy to deputise.
Thank you.
Deputy position for that.
Thank you, there is. So Councillor Grant.
Did you have,
Yes,
did you have a deputy from the police? So I understand.
yes.
Councillor Taylor's there to do
Oh, okay.
that. So just to, sorry.
I've got Councillor Claridge wanted to be with the, is that okay? Oh, yeah,
No,
okay.
I don't think any, if there are, can we have more than?
You can, I mean, it's.
If we express an interest in this, we can go along to
Exactly,
these and say-
exactly. Rotary, I think we said we've got covered now. Yes. Yeah, I think we're there. Thank you. So I think what I'll do is I'll take my notes away. I don't think we want to go through it all again. I'll take my notes away. I'll share those with members and then make sure that everyone's happy.
Yeah.
And then we can,
If we need to make a formal vote on that next time, then we will do so.
I mean, yeah, we should do. So let me take that away because I think there's a lot to digest there. And obviously, if somebody's not here and they haven't had an opportunity, I want to make sure we capture all that.
Are we all agreed that's
Yeah.
That's good.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
That's all right. Thank you.
I suspect other ones will come forward in the fullness of time.
Exactly.
Like, whatever the front replacement is for the, whatever the forum was on youth provision in the past.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on to item 10, I think.
Yes.
We have then, this is the proposed meeting schedule review for this council for 2026-2027. Attachment 4 has been prepared based on feedback from some councillors. Jill, would you like to talk to
Yes.
this item?
Thank you. So obviously we know that we don't have Park Barn after the end of September. So I've been looking for alternative venues and I know that Monday was mentioned as the preferred day of the week if possible. I think that means less clashes with other meetings at the district and things like that. So I've managed to secure St Leonard's Hall and Blackbridge Community Centre. So I was proposing that we alternate between the two. I don't know if you prefer one over the other, we could stick with one. I just thought that might be useful if one wasn't available and we've got another one that we're regularly using. I have stacked the Human Resources Committee and the Policy and Resources Committee, so those will be happening on the same evening. That's in the proposal. So that would mean the Human Resources Committee meeting at 5:30. And then obviously Policy and Resources, it's scheduled for 6:30, but if the Human Resources was running a bit later, then the Policy and Resources would start a bit later. And also, so with the meetings, 5:30 is the proposal for the Human Resources. All the others are either 6 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. Now I know there's one councillor that's reached out to me, would prefer the 6 p.m. start. I don't know if members have an opinion on whether that's too early, because obviously people have got, commitments, they're working, might be childcare things that you need to think of. So really that was for the meeting this evening to go. Mondays.
Monday 6 p.m.
Yeah. If that's a problem, then 6:30 p.m. we could stick with. It's just because somebody asked me if I could mention that, so I've scheduled that in. Thank you.
If I may, as chair, to say that in terms of Monday would not have been my preferred day, but if it is done there, that is fine. But I personally would like a slightly later start because I have other meetings at my place of work on Monday afternoon. So I'm okay with the latest start on Monday. Right, just putting that out.
By that, you mean the 6:30?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's Thompson is okay.
Yeah. Okay. So has anyone got any other comments on the meetings?
So are we particular? Oh,
Sorry, Councillor.
Just a question about colour coding.
Yes.
What's
It
colour coding?
it was just really for me.
Red danger. I suppose any questions or how do we feel as a group, as a council about the shared venues there?
Quick question, is there a cost related to each venue?
Sorry.
Is there a cost related to each venue?
Oh, I think one's £5 a session more expensive. It's within the budget still. So yeah.
An observation, I mean, most people are local, so it may not be that much of an issue, but I would imagine that getting parking at Blackbridge Community Centre is probably significantly easier than it might be at St Leonard's.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
From time to time. Might
Yeah.
have to suck it and see, but that
Yeah.
would just be my first.
Is there a reason why we're alternating between one and the other? Is that just availability?
Both of them are available all the time.
Yeah.
But I've found two, so I've provisionally booked them. So it was really.
You could settle on one.
You could absolutely. You could.
Alternate and see how it goes.
Yeah.
That's one.
I would have no problem with that. Councillor Albert.
Maybe this is a longer term aim, but obviously we pay for office space
Yes.
in a shared office at the moment.
Yes. So we've got one office in a building. Yeah. So it's not a shared office. It's an office in a shared building.
I guess in time, an opportunity for a discussion about maybe having more public presence and looking at a retail unit that could be used for meetings, office space.
Absolutely.
Because there's going to come a point where the cost of all these higher facilities adds up.
Yeah, absolutely. And that would be, I'm sure, the aspiration for the town council once they start looking at budget setting and everything for next year, and start having conversations. Because when I was looking before the council was formed, the conversation stopper was you're not in a position to enter a lease because there was no funds. So so we're very lucky actually because there was barely anything available. So we were very lucky to secure that office.
Which is just a pop-up shop in Swan Walk, but that might not be a great time.
Not right now.
Yeah.
So moving.
Is everyone
forward with this,
sorry?
anyone
Yeah.
say?
Can we just have a decision? Thank you.
That's what I was moving towards. Jill.
Thank
That's
you.
what I was
Thank you.
Trying to affect. Having looked at those dates and having had our discussion, is there anything further we want to ask before we go for a vote on this? In that case, is there anybody that would like to propose that we accept these dates? Okay, thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Councillor Robbins.
And who would like to second, Councillor Robbins? Okay, thank you, Councillor.
Is it Councillor Franklin?
Foss.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Foss, that's right, yeah. And all in favour of accepting these? I think
Thank
that is
you.
unanimous, yes.
That's lovely. And I've noted that's a 6:30 p.m. start. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Apart from the HR.
Yes, of course.
And moving on to item 11, which is the draft consultation protocol, where we are invited to consider a proposed consultation protocol to clarify the council and committee that responds to individual consultation opportunities. Jill, would you mind speaking to this?
Thank you. I'm sure you've all had an opportunity to read the report, so I won't read it all in detail. But basically, this is to look at the consultation protocol for anything that's not already included for delegated authority for the planning committee. So particularly strategic consultations, it does make sense that the policy and resources committee should be in a position where they can consider and respond because obviously that would be more timely. Then everything doesn't have to come to full council where nobody's really considered it. It just makes sense. So I've given you the background and the proposal. The proposal is the planning committee continues to consider and respond to consultations within its own delegated authority, and any consultation identified by the clerk in consultation with the chair of the planning committee as falling outside that planning committee's delegated authority shall be referred to the policy and resources committee. Then the Policy and Resources Committee is authorised to consider and submit consultation responses on behalf of the Council where the matter falls within the committee's strategic and policy remit. Anything that is considered to be, what's the word? Such significance, that's what I called it. So anything where the matter is deemed to be of such significance, strategic importance or financial consequence or public interest, that should still be determined by a full council. So I'm not talking about everything going to policy and resources, but hopefully it will help the workload for the full council. So all responses would be submitted under delegated authority and reported to the next meeting of the full council for information for all members. So hopefully that makes sense. So I won't read it all in detail, but if there's any questions, please, I'm happy to field those.
Are there any questions or views on this?
I would just say that it looked well thought out and put together and very sensible, so I support it.
I thought sensible and efficient was. Okay, so no one else forthcoming. So therefore, we have a decision required on this. So having looked at this, we have someone who wants to propose this motion, Councillor Boffey, and Councillor Franklin, I believe, is seconding him. All in favour, please raise your hands. Thank you.
Agreed.
Again.
Thank you.
So moving from consultation to consultation opportunities, item 12, where we are to consider various consultation opportunities. The details are in the report that have been supplied from our clerk. A draft there, walking and cycling, local plan, road safety, and the Horsham Sustainable Corridors project, which also requires a decision. Chair.
Thank you. Of course, there's nothing to say that you have to respond to every consultation opportunity, but I think it's important that all of them are through the system, whether that be committee or full council, because obviously residents and people in the community would be interested in, I'm sure, all these topics. So you've got a list here, and there are a few at the moment. The draft air quality action plan, the closing date for that is the 20th of July. We have the Horsham District 2045 scoping consultation for the new local plan. The closing date for that is the 28th of July. Then you've got the road safety survey for the Horsham District, closing date 31st of July. And the walking and wheeling improvements in Compton's Lane, which hopefully some people will have attended, because I think there was a drop-in session that was quite helpful. Closing date 4th of August. And then the Horsham Sustainable Corridors project. And we've had a direct request for feedback from West Sussex County Council. Even though the consultation's finished, they contacted us and asked if they can have some feedback. I have hopefully laid that out for you with the consultation page links, the sort of suggested focus for the town council as well with the responses. But I haven't looked at them all in detail, I must confess. But if anyone has any queries or questions, I'll try and answer as best I can.
What is the mechanism, or established mechanism for providing that feedback in terms of who provides the feedback?
Yeah, so what I was going to propose is that if there are comments, I can capture those in notes, and then I would form a consultation response based on those comments in collaboration with Councillor Frank, if that's acceptable. But if somebody's got a ready, consultation response with them this evening that they want to put forward, please feel free.
No, I don't, but I probably will have.
Because of the deadlines,
Yes.
time is very tight.
Understood.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, you're happy for people to send in stuff after this meeting as well?
Yes.
To
Yes.
contribute to that?
Yes, yes.
I would just say, Jill, how long would you want to give us to respond to you verbally or via email?
I mean, realistically, I will need at least 2 clear working days before the deadlines. So if you work 2 days back, because obviously there are lots of different deadlines here, because we've got some councillors not here this evening as well, so that will give them an opportunity if they want to. But yes, so if you could do that, because I will need obviously a couple of days to collate comments and obviously confer with Councillor Frank as well.
So, Chair, if I may.
Yeah.
So we are, if we are minded to provide feedback, we provide feedback to yourself, but is there a practice that we should share that with the other councillors, or is it just a direct communication? This is, as my personal feedback as a councillor, how does it work?
I think it would be very useful if you shared that with everybody, because then others may have similar comments. It would save, me having to, send lots of emails. I think that's a really sensible approach. If you have a comment, if you share, you can just copy in councillors. It'll go to everybody else.
One of those rare occasions where we want to encourage all.
Exactly.
So then, just as a follow-on to that, so obviously these ones we're caught on the hoof because we're either beyond the deadline or right next to a deadline. But then going forward, we'll have, because we obviously this happened because we knew, but going forward, I suppose that we would have more notice on consultations, and then would we then debate that as a body of work in here, or again just feed directly through to yourselves?
So with the consultation protocol that you've all just adopted, the idea now being that a lot of consultations will go to the Policy and Resources Committee.
Gotcha.
There are some that go to Planning Committee anyway. So hopefully there won't be a situation like this again in full council, because the committee should be fielding the.
Okay.
I think you had your hand up first, Emma.
So I understand this is an interim
Yes.
process for the consultations in the short term. What if we disagree or have conflicting views? What's the kind of arbitration mechanism?
So what we'll be doing is, for the consultation responses, so if you objected, for instance, to a consultation, that can be fed in, but that's not the council's opinion. That's literally, But obviously all comments, will be fed through. So it's not that, I'm going to say that everyone's supporting when some don't. But obviously, that has to be managed. We have to, but if there's a consensus whereby, majority, a bit like you have a vote here, if 10 councillors want something and 4 didn't, that's, the majority vote carries. So,
I think the way this has come to us is out of the ordinary anyway.
Yes.
Clearly something has passed. We were not ready. We were not. So they're just interested in what we think. So therefore, what we think has been forwarded to Jill, and she will collate that, and we will then just put it together. In a
But it's what we think individually, not as a council.
Yes, because you're feeding it in. And I'm going to collate those responses and send those on.
Okay, Councillor Coffey.
I was just thinking, consultations come in different shapes and sizes and flavours and so on, and sometimes there's free text and sometimes there isn't. So depending on what it is, there may be scope to say, the majority of members felt this, but there was a minority view of the other.
Exactly.
It just depends on how they set it up.
Yeah, it does.
Sorry, Councillor.
Okay. Do you propose to just set up a SharePoint folder system, which I thought was working really well for the agenda documents tonight, it's one place to go to, and it's really useful. I wonder whether the SharePoint could also be used for the collation of these comments rather than getting something to So there was a folder set up for each consultation. We could just get into that. So that was your point one. But on the further part of the consultation document, Jill, in terms of the scope that we should be looking at, and perhaps unsurprisingly from me, given my background, I'd like to propose we add on the local economy in terms of the scope that we would be looking to take into account when we're looking at consultations. And this is sort of a new thought for me, and I'm interested what other members think. I think what we're seeing is the success of the town now is very evident in terms of the numbers of people attending events and activities. And I think there's a question in my mind as to whether or not, in some instances, whether the town is large enough in its public spaces to actually accommodate certain activities. And so I think there's a thing about scaling, and in terms of proposals we might be asked to look at, to actually just think about the scale of the town centre we have, vis-a-vis the size of the population that it is now served and will increasingly serve. So I just would like to open that up to ask what other people think about that, because having myself and my association started with the town over 20 years ago, and I'm conscious that the number of houses, number of households has probably grown by at least 10 to 15% in that time, and is set to grow at least that again if we're to meet our housing targets. A previous Horsham District Council administration did an amazing job in regenerating Horsham Town Centre to create what we have today. But that was based and focused on to serve a set population size. And I feel it incumbent in terms of my role also to think about the future for local residents. And it's not just about this of facilities who are being asked to consider coming forward fit for purpose today, but will they be fit for purpose for tomorrow? And do we need to make provision for additional numbers of people in the town over and above the spaces that we currently use? And I just would like to offer that up as a point for consideration.
I think it's an excellent and very relevant point, Councillor. Did you? I missed the first point. Did you propose we have a separate committee to talk about economy? Was that the?
No, I think my point, Chairman, was Gilles has suggested areas of scope we should consider and take into account, and that they were excellent in terms, but it didn't include something around the local economy. And given our purpose and the reality of the fact that we may end up needing to be more guardians to that than we do with the presence of the district council at the moment, I just would like to suggest that we should all be bearing that in mind as well.
I agree. Can we look into that?
I think Councillor Norton point is a very good one. I think it's quite multi-level. I think we could all say that there's not enough space at Friday night race for a number of people. It has obviously crowd management issues, but then there's also things like retail, and we were talking about leases earlier. Actually, this is a problem for lots of small businesses and entrepreneurs. There's lots of scope here to do some really good work on economy with how we can make economic growth and entrepreneurial spirit more accessible to residents as the town grows. And I think it's a bigger project than just looking at event space, or just looking at car parking, or just looking at retail. I know the plan with Crawley was always around local neighbourhood shops. And I think Horsham it happens in a less organised way than maybe Crawley was around design. But there's lots of opportunities with how we can use events in different parts of the town and I suppose district, but that's out of our remit. But I think we need to look at it both in terms of enterprise and events, obviously, and how they join together as well.
So what you're saying, so when we are addressing some of these requests for consultation, we should consider the economy as part of our response. And going back to the very, very first point, because I don't want it to sort of slide off the desk, is in our individual responses to be uploaded into a consultation directory on the SharePoint.
If everybody's happy with that, because I know there are one or two that have struggled to get access, Councillor Foss, so I'll look into it for you tomorrow. But yeah, if a majority are happy with that, I'll certainly do that for you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
I think I echo those ideas. Great. Yeah, Councillor Buckley.
Picking up on the point about this, I would say my memory is a little bit rusty, but the neighbourhood plan is for a business neighbourhood, and that is quite a part of it. So there will be, I believe there are policies in the neighbourhood plan that are part of that, which you can always brush up on and look to bear in mind when commenting. However, obviously, you know, that neighbourhood plan took a long time to produce, time moves on, things change, so we can always be looking at reviewing that and seeing whether those policies are up to date. But just to say that there is a policy background which the town council effectively owns now on that.
Thank you. Yeah. So we need a decision on item 12.
Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't see that, Councillor Fletcher. Yeah.
Jill said she wanted to capture comments in this meeting. Do you now not want to do that because it's taking too long?
Well, I mean, if somebody's got comments ready that they want to share, I'm happy to take notes here now. But if nobody really wants to do that, again,
I think it would be better that if you have the SharePoint, we can
okay.
set the SharePoint up, then we can upload that rather than
if everyone's happy with that.
I think it's a great thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Are you okay with that, Ruth? Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So just in terms of recommending we proceed with what we have discussed here and set forward, is someone happy to propose that? Okay, Councillor Grant, thank you. And to second it? Thank you, Councillor Emily. Right.
ARG.
We put you Brian Garros, and then that's what quite. Okay, thank you. All in favour? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So then on to item 13, which is the website priority themes that the FNGB committee debated and formed a recommendation of initial approach to developing the website beyond statutory requirements and the identified key priority themes over the next 4 months. Would you like to share a little bit more about that, Jill?
Thank you. So basically, I'm trying to think now. Was it finance and general, or was it policy and resources? I'm thinking I've lost the track of the meetings. So basically, there was a debate at the committee, and members put forward some ideas, and this is just looking at guiding content over the next 3 to 4 months. So this is not, you know, talking about the next year or 2 years. This is the short window of opportunity. Because now the website is in a state of statutory information's there. As there is only me at the moment, you are resource poor presently, sorry. So it was just trying to look at some key themes. So I took those down, and thank you to the members on that committee, because I think it was quite productive. So the outcome was the themes identified: accessing services and reporting local issues. And the purpose is to help residents quickly find the right service and report problems. I think a bit of capturing what was talked about this evening. The second one was council services and local government information. And this is to explain the roles of the different councils and public bodies. Local government reorganisation and devolution updates to make sure that residents are kept informed about changes affecting local government, which is very important. The fourth one was about community news events and celebrating Horsham. And again, the purpose of this, promoting community pride and encouraging participation. And the fifth was planning, development and community engagement. Because obviously major developments are happening, and we want to make sure that residents know how they can get involved and be informed. And those were the themes put forward. So our recommendation is to note the proposed approach to the website development and agree that these themes are endorsed by the council to guide the content over the next 3 to 4 months. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. I think the website looks really good, and also we consider ourselves resource rich in having you. Thank you. But yes, I wasn't follow up from that meeting, but I think for myself, there's some very interesting and useful proposals put forward. Are there any thoughts on this from councillors? Okay, I'll swap around here. Councillor Waterford.
I just have a thought with regard to how much work we would ask our team to put into the celebration of what's going on in the town. I think ultimately that's absolutely what we should have on the website. But there are many other great resources, the district council site, Visit Horsham. There are a number of places that list events very comprehensively. And because we want to be seen to be fully inclusive, we could so easily end up disappointing people, because I think we would find it quite challenging to capture all the events and just end up replicating what other people are doing. So my suggestion for the first 4 months in this context would be to focus on news about what we're doing as a town council, and things that we want to specifically tie into initiatives that we're working on. So that was just a thought. I'm sorry if that sounds a bit of a rain cloud on it. And I'm all for PR, marketing, publicising the town, but I think knowing how vibrant the town is, there's so much going on. I think you could spend a whole week collating that, and we just don't have the time.
I think it's quite clear our role is not to promote things that go on in Horsham. There's lots of other, exactly as you say. I think maybe on the website we could have an area where we simply have links, very bright visible links to like Visit Horsham, which does such a fantastic job in promoting what we do, and that's where people can go if they're on our website and look at that. And then, as you say, the rest of it is about what we are doing. So I don't think that's in any way putting it down. It's just the right thing to do. Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, putting devoted many hours of evening on these topics. Obviously, very conscious that there's only it's the initial 3 or 4 months as opposed to the biggest schemes before that. Obviously, with great talks from the council tonight on the highways, and that being something that impacts quite a lot of people, I certainly think that part, the signposting, that would be in there. Also going back to what Councillor Waterman just said about that signposting to go actually district council promoting everything that's going on in Horsham. If that's what you're looking for, there's that link to it.
Yeah, I think we're not just blessed with it as a town with fantastic events and things going on. We're also blessed with some fantastic websites who are promoting that, organisations. So yeah, absolutely. Councillor Fletcher.
Yes, well, I know I was promoting the idea that we should be telling people what's on, but I do take your point that you have to be careful that you don't pretend you're exhaustive and then fail. And I think having links to other places is a good way of helping give a good service that you can kind of live up to your promises on more easily. I still think it's important that we do the celebrating bit, that we do host. I think it will be good for us to be having photographs of things that are upcoming or have already happened, and a strong visual presence, rather than a very kind of business-like kind of a website for this part of the purpose. So I really wanted to say that, but I still think it should be in there, albeit I take your point. The second thing I wanted to say is we kind of refined it into 5 themes there. I wouldn't want our brief to the person who's doing the website to be, this must be the title you put.
No.
And it must have these 5 categories, because it should be, that should be a guidance rather than a constraint, because these are not appropriate headings for sort of website tabs. And some of them you'll discover that they're kind of overlapping one or the other. So I'd want to give some flexibility in order to make this sort of streamlined and easy and accessible for people.
Councillor Brown?
Thank you, Chair. I think this is a really interesting subject, and obviously it's something that we could discuss at length. So I'd like to make the following proposal, Chair, that the appropriate committee, there's an agenda point in at a regular meeting of the appropriate committee, where on the agenda it's website issues, so people can talk about content. The worst thing is, and we've all seen it, is we start off fully enthusiastic with a lovely website, and it's the same one in 6 years' time. So my proposal is that as a discussion point within the appropriate committee, when it meets regularly, is just to say website, ? And then anyone can make any comments and suggestions at that point. Keep it fresh about content and things that are going on.
Was the appropriate group, was it, do you think it was finance?
Finance, general purposes,
I don't know whether we particularly need to make a vote, or maybe we just need to share our agreement on that. That sounds like it's a very sensible option to me, that we can have that as a standing order.
Yeah, item.
Would we be in agreement with that as a group?
Can I ask
I'm only,
why,
yeah, go on.
why the finance rather than policy and resources?
It sort of overlaps slightly, but I was conscious that the policy and resources got quite a hefty work stream project things happening, and I just thought at the moment the finance and general purposes, obviously, because you're a new council, there's not, so it can sit under finance and general purposes. But I take your point; it does overlap a bit. That was only my thinking. But if you want it to be on policy and resources, and the other point is policy and resources meets every 2 months. Finance and general purposes meets monthly, so it depends. Yeah, but if anyone particularly,
The only point I'd make is it needs to be part of a broader. We talk about our communications plan.
Yes,
but it
yes.
needs to be part of that rather than seen as a standalone.
Is it worthwhile then, I'm not being particularly precious about it, I'm just raising the question, is that, does it matter that if policy and resources are every 2 months, is that too late to have it as a standing order discussion? That's
right, because I think as well, the idea being was this was a separate work stream. This wasn't part of the existing work streams, but I think now you're going into the realms of you're talking about longer term, aren't you? Of keep So the idea really for me was, what do you want me to focus on while I'm still here? That was really the idea of this agenda item. I think you've expanded on that, which is fine. It doesn't really matter whether it's policy and resources or finance and general purposes for that standing item. Yeah. It just depends on members, feeling, and whether you think every 2 months is sufficient. Thinking about what the policy and resources committee are going to be working on, that there's lots of policies they've got to look at. The strategic plans and so it's really your preference. If members want it to be on finance and general purposes, that's fine. If you'd rather it be in policy and resources, that's fine.
Continue to
I mean, I see it as a divide between strategic and operational.
Yeah.
I think it can be on general purposes as an operational item, in terms of we need to put this on, we need to put a post on about this, we need this on there in a kind of a normal operational way. Whereas policy and resources has still got the ability to consider it, at a more strategic level.
Yeah.
What do we actually want our site to be doing? How do we want it to be laid out? What's its, that's my thing. So I think having it on a monthly item on general purposes as a kind of an operational basis is a good idea, and let policy and resources work out when it wants to look at it and how, from a strategic point of view.
Yeah.
Councillor Thompson.
So I think just very quickly to highlight, it was a time issue that ended up on the finance one. As in, we've got sort of two months or so to get something on there, and I think we just had your one, so I think it was literally with the next committee to sit, so whether we got someone else with picking up the ideas for it. But you're right, we're at 60s.
I can just see from the list here that the ultimate aim, challenging
Is he
people
right?
in turn.
Can you get?
There's obviously a wish to create quite a resource on here. I would like to suggest that perhaps the immediate focus is more a kind of blog style article, similar to the sort of updates that maybe the MP does, or similar, where we are attending events or where we have done something notable that we want to pop out a little bit more than someone reading the minutes of our meeting. and that might be featuring some of the guest speakers that we've had, and things like that. So it's a little bit more of a news article. Someone can speak to us from Highways about this. We really value their insight, and this is how you contact them. These are the projects they're working on, so it keeps that content a bit fresh and doesn't need to be long, extensive, because I think we're almost trying to replace a lot of statutory information, which has huge teams to publish otherwise.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick technical question? I can see you using, is it Aubergine?
Aubergine.
Does that have analytics
Yes.
built into it? So you
It's
can see?
Google.
Is it Google Analytics? Brilliant.
Yeah.
Does that be helpful in knowing actually what people visiting the website are looking at? And then you can use that as
So, if there are no further comments or questions, we're invited to endorse the suggested themes that have already been discussed. And do we need to add on to that there's different, as Councillor Bobby talked about?
Yes, so I've captured those comments. I've captured the fact to sort of where we're talking about celebrating Horsham events, linking to websites like Visit Horsham. That's really key, and I think that's a really good idea. Looking at what we're doing and events or services we're providing, and I've captured Councillor Albrow's comment about the blog idea, which are news items. So I think that's a really good idea as well. And signposting, which I'd already factored in sort of for highways. Obviously, any other authorities signpost them for what they're doing. And also, Councillor Fletcher's taken on board the comments about the photographs and making it a bit more of a visual presence. So if everyone's happy, that those are the main key points.
Okay. Would someone like to propose that we endorse these? Councillor Thompson and seconder. Okay, thank you, Councillor Foss.
Thank you.
All in favour?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's all. Unanimous.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Item 14, regarding a collarette for use by the chair for wearing the badge. Just to speak a little bit to this, we were really fortunate that Jill Clark was able to contacted Horsham Museum, correct me anything I say wrong here, and through her persistence was discovered that the Horsham Urban Council, the former Horsham Urban Council chain, was in the museum, and the museum were very kindly able to offer it for our use. So hence I was wearing that at a couple of events the other week, and again a lot of people were sort of delighted to see it, and invited lots of questions, and it was a super thing. But of course I'm wearing quite an old chain, and I'm slightly unwieldy. So the discussion was had about just a way of comfortably wearing this more often. So hence that's how this came about. So the purchase, we had to discuss the purchase of a ceremonial collarette to be approved and enable the chair to wear the badge of office without the current heavy or unwieldy chain for less formal events and occasions. Do you want to say something about this more, Jill?
I don't think so. I think I said everything. So obviously it went to Finance and General Purposes Committee first. So this is a recommendation from that committee. The cost is £44.95. And that would obviously come from the contingency funds for this year. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or discussion about that?
Is it a specific colour?
I think red.
Maroon.
Maroon.
Gorgeous. Would anyone like to propose that we accept this recommendation?
One of the
Councillor Buffett, yeah.
really is, I think you could probably correct me, but from looking at the dates, it's an interesting piece, they would say, on the Pro Show, because it's the what's the bit actually called that it's not the
badge of office.
Yeah, is the Horsham Urban District Council, but all of the names actually on the chain, if not nearly all, are post 1974, which means they are actually chairs of Horsham District Council. So it's a little bit like an Oliver Cromwell knife, this thing that's had 7 new blades and 5 new handles, or triggers. But you know, the chain almost kind of doesn't go exactly. So actually, having its own colorette in some ways makes a degree of sense.
That's great background. Yeah. But it's a lovely piece. It creates a lot of interest. Thank you. What do we get to? Thank you for proposing, Councillor Boffey. Second, Councillor Carriage. All in favour?
Aye.
Aye. All against?
Very good. Right, I think you've got an abstention first.
Yes.
Was anyone against? No. Thank you.
Okie dokie. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right. We move on to item 15, which is regarding pensions and resolution and formal designation of eligible posts. And following on from the previous formal adoption of the local government pension scheme at full council on the 16th, we are now required to resolve a formal designation of eligible posts and delegate authorities to the clerk. So do you want to say anything more about this, John?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, so there was a brief discussion at the last meeting, and I think the feeling was that this should be a pension that was offered to eligible employees, so not just for the post of town clerk and responsible financial officer. But obviously we need to formally adopt a resolution because I need to share that then with the pension fund. So that was the purpose of this report. To seek your approval for the final administrative step to complete entry. And obviously the membership of the scheme would be for the permanent employees. So that's not for me, it's for the future employees of the town council. Thank you. And happy to take any questions.
Open to questions.
Just comment that we did debate this and ask a number of questions at Finance and General Purposes Committee. So I think that everyone who was bringing that forward to the full council had a good opportunity to scrutinise it, and I'm personally quite happy.
Yeah.
Should we move to a vote in that case? We would like to propose that we to delegate authority to the interim clerk for this purpose. Who wants to propose that, please? Okay, Councillor Grant, seconded by Councillor Aldborough. Thank you very much. All in favour?
Thank you.
Fantastic. That is unanimous.
Thank you.
On to item 16, which is the councillor allowances scheme. The interim clerk is to present the draft members allowance scheme for formal adoption, following the council's resolution on the 16th to introduce council allowances in principle and enable implementation of the scheme in accordance with local authorities' regulations. Yes, do you want to tell us anything more that we need to know, John?
Hopefully it's all very clear in the report. So you have a separate document, which is the actual draft town council allowances scheme. And that is adopted under the Local Authorities Member Allowances England Regulations 2003. It sets out introduction, the effective date, the basic allowance, which is what the resolution was at the last meeting. The payment arrangements are laid out there for you as well. The taxation position, to make that very clear. The fact that you haven't adopted yet the expenses policy, so that would be something that will be coming through via the Policy and Resources Committee. So there's no policy at the moment for travelling and subsistence allowances. There is no chair's allowance payable under this scheme. That was another stipulation, but of course there could be a future proposal from the town council if that's something they wanted to pursue. And just to make it clear as well, any councillor may elect to forego all or part. So you don't have to forego all of it. You could contact me and say you want to forego part of it. And then to do that, you need to provide written notice to me because I'm the proper officer at the moment. And then that notice would remain in force until withdrawn in writing. the publication and records as well. So the records will be maintained of all payments made under the scheme, and the statutory notices will be published as required by the regulations, and the records are available for public inspection where required by law. And the the annual totals of the allowances paid to each councillor will be published annually in accordance with the regulations. And then there's just a final part about the review, and then the allowance level is Schedule 1. I hope that all made sense. But if anyone has any questions, please, happy to.
That's very useful. Jill, of course, this has been debated
Yes.
Already. So, are there any other further questions that we have want to ask? In that case, I ask for a proposer, Councillor Franklin, and a seconder, Councillor Thompson.
Thank you.
All in favour?
Yes. Thank you very
We are all
much.
in favour. Fantastic. Okay, great. Okay, so then on to item 17, which is about speed indicator devices, or SIDS, and data management and sharing policy. We are to consider a draft SID data management and sharing policy proposed to establish clear arrangements for the management, retention and sharing of the speed indicator device data with relevant agencies and authorities, which I think is very important to do since it's about speeding the cars. So we have to consider something, Jill.
Yes, thank you. So this really has arisen because obviously the speed indicator devices, there was one amount of data harvest from the first inspection. And people that on a committee will have heard this already, so sorry to repeat. But basically, there was too much data on majority of the devices. So what they've done is they've reset them when the first visit took place. We've had the second visit last week. So I've actually got in my inbox 6 data reports from 6 different devices. And basically, I reached out to the police because I would fully expect that this information they would be interested in. And they said that they hadn't, to their knowledge, ever received any. So and they were curious as to what the policy was for sharing data. And I thought, yeah, actually, we do need a policy. So that's why this has come about. Obviously, it's really key that we are in a position that the data we have, we are sharing with relevant authorities, people that can make a difference and use that data. So hopefully it all made sense and you've had a chance to read it. But if you've got any questions, please, I'm happy to take.
Councillor Owen.
And presumably this is anonymised data, it doesn't record any car registration.
No, it doesn't record it's talking about speeds and times of the vehicles, because they're those devices that are sat on lamp columns or posts. So it's not a handheld device, it's actually out. Yeah. So not everybody knew.
So presumably from a GDPR point of view, we can just share this on our website with a nice little interactive map. And
I don't think it's something we particularly would share on the website because the actual reports are very lengthy. There's pages and pages of information and
just CSV files with times and
no, they're PDF documents. That's the only, and I have found out because that was a question at the committee meeting. That is the only way the data will download onto a PDF document, which isn't. Yeah,
I'd be interested to play with like Gemini or something and see if can you make this into an infographic that we can share with the public and compare.
Oh.
Maybe we could feed it into AI.
Yeah.
Because I think if the public are playing on them, we need to share that information in a way that they can digest it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good long-term aspiration. Whether or not at the moment I'd have capacity to do anything like that, but I agree. But I think this is the first step in making sure that people like the police and any other highway authority that, because that's what they've said to me, they could make use of this data and, hopefully use it. And I think Councillor Boffey pointed out, it's a good evidence base, if you're looking, so yeah, but I think that's a good idea for the future.
Thank you, Councillor Fletcher, then Robbins.
So following on from Councillor Allbrad's comments, this is anonymised data. There isn't any sort of protection issue. There's no sensitivity or reason why it shouldn't be shared.
No.
So I think in principle we should be happy to share this on our website if that turns out to be appropriate. Because why wouldn't we? West Sussex shares a lot of their traffic data, and it's a common practice. Also, I don't see there's a need to actually wipe the data at 24 months, because if you're looking at traffic data, it can be quite useful to look over a period. So, for example, people will often look at things like, we can't, but it's before and after COVID, or trends over the last 5 years or whatever. So I would suggest that until such time as the quantity of the data becomes a problem, we should just hold on to it. And that means sort of modifying that retention policy.
Yeah, there might be someone who wants to do a university study on this.
Councillor Robbins, then Grant.
Yeah, just to say, I mean, it's a hybrid report. It is, as Jill says, about 140 pages. It does actually contain all the raw data behind it as well. So I think there are some good summary reports in there at the front end, which maybe we just share as is. As you said, we can put them through AI. I'd probably be reluctant to share raw data because I have a fear that could drive poor behaviours, timestamps, this speed. It does in the report show what was the maximum speed someone was doing across that period. You don't want to drive, there's much of a challenge. Yeah, exactly. So I think maybe some of the summary data is good, but I think the raw data behind it is probably a little bit too much. But it might be counterproductive.
Yeah, fair point.
That's it. Grant, then Thompson.
With the clerk's indulgence, I'd like to request a copy of your site of that data, and for the group, for the team here, I'd like to be able to show you what AI-driven data would be able to present you in terms of graphic data, conclusions, and all the rest of it for us around the table. And then once you've seen it, everyone then can decide what they may or may not want to do with it.
I think that's
Thank you.
appropriate. Thank you. Councillor Thompson.
Just going back to the original proposal about the policy of sharing data, I think it's just important whether it's something that's public or not. We do have something in place just to cover ourselves when we share it with any relevant authority that we are making sure that that's in place. Because if you have one or exclude one for this because it's not got people's details on, then something else might slip into that net. So I think going back to the original question, I think it's crucial that we have a policy for that.
Okay, so maybe that's something for moving forward.
Yes.
Okay, so we, Jill, were asked not to vote on this, so we are asked to consider this.
Yes, if you wouldn't mind. So the suggested resolution is you adopt the speed indicated device data management and sharing policy, and that you authorise me to share the data with the approved road safety and public authority partners in accordance with the policy, and the policy is reviewed every 3 years. And I've made a note under retention to extend beyond 24 months, so there is no time limit. Yeah.
So do you need a formal vote, or do we say agreed or not agreed?
You can say agreed, that's fine, thank you.
I will
If everyone's agreed.
with this proposal.
Agreed.
I think we all agree, Jill.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Okay, so on to item 18, the draft substitution protocol. So we are invited to consider a proposed substitution protocol clarifying the procedure for the use of substitute members at committee meetings to ensure the continuity of decision making.
Thank you, Chair. This is quite timely, actually, because I think we might be using this next week. So obviously those that are on the planning committee know that we had to move the meeting. In the scheme of things, it's not ideal because we're up against time constraints with the planning comments. We have to get back to the district council. So I wanted to come to full council with this. The purpose of the protocol is to set out the rules and procedure for the use of substitute members at committee meetings to ensure that your decision-making, transparency and consistency with the standing rules and terms of reference. The protocol would apply to all committees except Human Resources and the Appeals Committee if it was meeting. The eligibility of substitutes is any serving town councillor can act as a substitute unless otherwise restricted by the council. The substitute must not have a disclosable pecuniary or prejudicial interest in the business of the meeting and be suitably briefed on the matters to be considered. A committee member who's unable to attend a meeting is responsible for arranging the substitute, and a substitution must be notified to the clerk. Where there are political groups, substitution can be coordinated through the group if applicable, but notification must still be made via the clerk. If people know well in advance, substitution should normally be confirmed at least 3 clear days before the meeting in line with our standing orders. But of course, we know that doesn't happen. So I have made sure that we can cater for late substitutions as well. And this would be accepted at the discretion of the proper officer in consultation with the chair of that committee. And the overriding consideration is to make sure we have quorum and effective meetings. I've gone on to explain a bit more, which I won't read all that out, but hopefully that all made sense. And I'm suggesting that the protocol is reviewed annually alongside the terms of reference and standing orders.
It sounds all eminently sensible. Do we have any further comments or questions on this, Councillor Fletcher?
Just to confirm what I hope I'm understanding this, although it says that this is a purpose can be used to maintain quorum, it doesn't mean that it's limited to when you would otherwise be unquorate. You could use it on other occasions.
So, I mean, you could do you can use it on other occasions, but that's the primary.
Yeah, but I was thinking in particular where it comes to a case of political parties, that if a minority party who only had one person on there wanted to substitute, they might just want to do that in order to be able to have a presence.
Yes.
Even if the meeting was fully quorate. And of course, anybody might want to have a substitute for some reason, even when they knew the meeting was above the quorum. So I just wanted to confirm that was okay.
It is, yes.
Any further questions? Emily?
Can I ask why the HR committee is needed?
Yeah, because when you form a human resources committee, obviously that's the committee where there's going to be lots of confidential matters discussed. It's going to be really important that you have consistency. So, if you're dealing with appraisals, if you're dealing with, disciplinary, it's really important that you keep the consistency in that one.
Anything else? Okay, so we do need a decision for this. So who would like to propose this? Okay, Councillor Franklin, and the second, please. Okay, Councillor Grossland.
Oh, thank
you. So all in favour?
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you.
What a harmonious committee we are. Fantastic. Okay, great. That's super. Thank you very much indeed to members of the public who've gone home to watch the football, and for the our next date, item 19 is the next date of our meeting. Which, to remind us,
I'm trying to find my new schedule. I'm going to find my new schedule. Got it. Okay, so the next meeting will be. Oh, yes, there it is. 14th of September, Monday the 14th of September. And that's going to be at St Leonard's Hall.
St Leonard's Hall. So just in order that Councillor Grossland can go watch France beat Spain, I now declare this meeting closed. Thank you. And they're losing 1-0. Cul de Marche.